All right, today we're diving into the incredible story of Bilal ibn Rabah. Now, this is a journey that goes from the absolute depths of slavery all the way to becoming a revered hero. But what's so powerful here isn't just about breaking physical chains. It's really about confronting the ones we all carry inside. And it all starts with this idea, something his mother told him. Being a great man means living without chains, the ones you can't see. Just let that sink in for a second. This is the core of the whole story. It's suggesting that the worst kind of prison isn't made of iron bars, but of the things we lock ourselves into mentally. So that idea, the unseen chains, that's where we're going to start. We're about to see the brutal world Bilal was born into, and you'll witness this head-on collision between his dreams and the harsh reality of his life. I mean, just look at the contrast here. On one side, you got this universal kid's dream, right? To be a warrior, a hero, a protector. But then you look at the other side, and it's just cold, hard reality. He's property. His master, Umayya, literally tells him he's no different than an apple you'd buy at the market, just a thing to be owned. And this quote right here, from his master, this just lays bare the entire suffocating system he was up against. See, it wasn't just one guy being cruel. It was a whole ideology designed to crush any glimmer of hope and convince you that this is just the way things are, forever. But then, right when everything seems completely hopeless, a little spark of defiance appears. A chance meeting introduces this radical new idea, and it's one that's going to challenge everything Bilal has ever been taught to believe about himself and his world. So, a mentor figure, a man named Al-Sadiq. He comes along and basically asks a question that shatters everything. What if the whole system is wrong? He tells Bilal, no one is born a slave. You were free once. And that right there plants the first powerful seed of real defiance. The idea that his reality isn't his destiny. And this is a huge turning point. Al-Sadiq completely reframes the whole concept of slavery. He suggests that Bilal's master, Umayya, is actually a slave himself, a slave to his own greed. The real chains, he explains, are things like greed, fear, and injustice. And understanding this becomes the key to Bilal's entire journey. You know what makes the villains in this story feel so real is this quote right here. Their cruelty isn't some abstract evil. It's a very realistic, very desperate defense of their power structure. This new message of equality, to them, it's a direct threat to their business, their control, their true faith, which is money. So you have this new belief, this internal fire. But what happens when you take that public? Well, that brings us to the price of freedom. This is where that internal struggle to break those unseen chains just explodes into a very public life or death fight. And the moment of truth arrives, so picture this. Bilal is dragged out in front of the city's most powerful men, his own masters, and his new beliefs are exposed for everyone to see. He declares that all people are born equal, and that statement is a direct attack on their entire world. He's given a choice, and it's a very simple, very public one. Take it all back. Renounce what you believe in, or you're going to face the worst consequences imaginable. So what does he do? While being publicly tortured with a giant rock literally crushing his chest, his only reply is one word, ahad. It means one. It's a defiant cry of his belief in one God, a total rejection of their idols, and it showed everyone his spirit was absolutely unbreakable. And this part is just so brutally realistic. Even in this incredible moment of spiritual defiance, as he's lying there close to death, his life is still a commodity. His freedom isn't won by his conviction alone. It comes down to a business deal, with his friend having to pay double the price just to buy his life. Okay, so he's finally a free man. And what's the first thing he wants to do? He wants to become that warrior he always dreamed of being. But the training he gets? Well, it's not at all what you'd think. His new teacher, the legendary warrior Hamza, basically turns everything upside down. He tells him to put down the sword. True training, he learns, isn't about weapons. It's about mastering yourself. He has to learn to conquer his own anger and understand that real power isn't in his hand, it's in his head. So think about this for a second. This completely redefines what it means to be strong. Strength isn't about brute force or getting even. It's about having the power to destroy your enemy and choosing forgiveness instead. That, he's told, is where you find true glory. And here's another thing that keeps this story so grounded and realistic. His fight isn't over just because he's free. His sister is still a slave, still in the hands of his old masters. She's this constant, painful reminder of what's at stake, which makes his fight so much more personal. In all of this, the pain, the training, the loss, it all leads to the final stage of his transformation. This is where Bilal finally discovers his own unique power, the real secret to becoming the great man his mother always knew he could be. And here it is, the culmination of his whole journey. The chains are finally, truly broken. The boy who was told he was no different from an apple has finally broken free from everything that tried to define him. In his final confrontation with his old masters, what does he do? He doesn't draw a sword. Instead, he uses their own words, their own logic against them. He hits them with a moral challenge that they just can't answer, and it exposes the complete hypocrisy of their entire system. In the end, he found his true strength, and it wasn't as the swordsman he dreamed of being as a kid. It was in his voice, a beautiful, powerful voice that now calls people to prayer, a voice that unites instead of divides, and becomes this incredible, lasting symbol of freedom and equality for everyone. Which really brings it all back to us, doesn't it? Bilal's story is ancient, but it forces us to look at ourselves and ask a timeless question. What are the modern chains, the greed, the fear, the injustice in our world, and even in ourselves that we still need to break?